Well, coming up on October 28th, up the street, the Lutheran Church of the Cross is going to be having a wonderful guest speaker. And today I'd like to welcome both the pastor, one of the pastors from there, Pastor Roger Marsh. Welcome, sir. Nice to have you here today.
Great to be here.
And you have brought along the gentleman that will be speaking there, and that's Dr. Uwe Simonetto. Nice to have you on, sir, as well.
Thank you for having me.
So let's first talk about the Lutheran Church in general, and I know you often get people that come there and give speeches and lectures, and so how do you get these folks to come by?
Well, we are fortunate to have a network of different speakers and organizations that we can work with, and other churches that we talk to. And Dr. Simonetto is coming on Reformation Sunday, which is October the 28th, and a special event where we're going to be having two different lectures, one about the two kingdoms and one about how voting is a divine vocation. And Dr. Simonetto is an expert in Lutheran theology. He's also a world-class journalist too. So a fine presentation. We're looking forward to having people at the church on Sunday, October 28th at 4 p.m.
And I just learned from you, sir, that you were a war correspondent in Vietnam. Wow.
Vietnam. Yeah, exactly 50 years ago, in a Tet Offensive, which determined the outcome of the Vietnam War at last. And I was in the middle of combat in Hue, the embattled city, which still sticks to my mind, obviously, which actually is something that made me later on go to seminary and study theology, and then to Boston University to get a doctorate in theology, because I wanted to, people always say, well, how could a journalist become a theologian? Actually, the two things are not too apart. Both are supposed to be mediators, and of course, as a journalist, you're supposed to have questions, and theology might provide some of the answers.
So, how did you get with the Lutheran Church? And is this are you a part of the church in general, or you
I belong to a different Lutheran congregation down in Capistrano Beach, but I like this Lutheran church here very much. I happen to be very involved with the other congregation, but I'm a cradle Lutheran, and coming from Germany, from Leipzig, Germany, which is the city of Johann Sebastian Bach, and so I got talking with the pastors here, and I said, well, listen, why don't we do a thing on what my specialty is, which is vocation, meaning secular vocation. You as a broadcaster, I as a journalist. But it's a vocation from God, that we are, that God calls us into our vocations for one purpose, and that is to serve our neighbors out of love in what we are doing, which of course is a very important aspect, especially given that we are living in such a me-driven society, me society, as Time magazine titled it, and this is of course the entire opposite of that. You focus not on yourself, but you focus on the other, on the other guy. And then, of course, as a voter, this is what we're just going to discuss in the afternoon session, the second session. What is the vocation of a voter? As a German citizen, I have no place. It's not my place to tell Americans who to vote for, but how to vote, yes. I cannot tell you should be a Republican or a Democrat, because I'm not a citizen of this country. I'm a resident here, but I'm German. It would be inappropriate. It would be especially inappropriate in a Lutheran church, which makes a very clear distinction between the secular and the spiritual. The two kingdoms, that's what I'm going to discuss. But I can tell you how to vote, and that is in what spirit? It's the spirit of love for your neighbor, and then we have to consider who is your neighbor. It's not just my wonderful neighbor, Mrs. Schulman, across the corridor from me, but it's everybody. It's children. It's everybody, and that is what we're going to discuss.
It's interesting that you bring that up, because just a few days ago, we showed the film "Won't You Be My Neighbor," which of course Fred Rogers, who originally, I think, was on his way to be, I think, a Presbyterian
yes.
minister. I'll be honest, I don't know the difference between Luther, Presbyterian, Episcopal.
Come to our, come to our
thing,
session, then you'll find out.
Yeah, yes. But that, throughout, his whole program, that was basically his basis of
Very
your
true.
neighbor.
Yeah.
Right?
Living neighborly,
Yeah.
if you will. And
Yeah.
exactly, and as Dr. Simonetto was talking about, the fact that we can vote neighborly, thinking about what the whole, how your vote impacts the whole society, not just how do I feel about it. And that's something that's very important to us in the Lutheran Church, and that'll be part of our discussion on Reformation Day, which is the 501st anniversary of the Protestant Reformation. That's when we celebrate.
It is precise. You see, when you say me society, it is also the plural me, it's the we.
Right.
I mean, what troubles me so much today is that it's the group think. One particular group is right and the other group's wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, one particular sex is right and the other sex is wrong. One particular, race might be right or wrong.
Yeah.
And this is totally ludicrous because, of course, the other group is my neighbor as well.
Yeah.
In a plural sense of the word. And it is and deserves my love. That's at least from God's point of view.
Amen.
And it would be rather nice if one can finish that. Actually, I think the Lutheran doctrine of vocation is probably the most marketable doctrine we have to other Christians in this world. And of course, there are a lot of Christians of various denominations living here in the villages.
Right.
But I think they might all be interested because that is really specifically Lutheran, and it's a very powerful statement. For those of you in the village who speak German, the German word for vocation or profession is Beruf, and Luther actually introduced this very word into the German language. You see.
So how did you, are you just visiting here for?
No,
or
I'm
you
living
live
here. I've been living here
yes,
since
okay.
2011. I like living here. I spent half the year normally in France, where we have another home, and where I have my archives as a journalist. But I'm a resident. First, I'm domiciled here, except that I still have a red passport and not an American one.
And I know, Pastor, that as I said, you folks often give, you bring in people to give different talks, and I think you do this usually on a monthly basis, every couple of months or so?
Every couple of months. It's every 2 to 3 months. We'll bring in someone to either whether it's showing a film or having a lecture or something like that.
Yeah, I think last time it was a film.
Yeah, for opportunities for people to see different aspects of the faith. It isn't just, you don't have to come to an actual worship service to actually learn more about how faith and culture really do intersect. This is a great opportunity for anybody of any denomination. We're just hosting it on the 28th because that's Reformation Sunday for us, and we celebrate the day that Martin Luther nailed those theses to the church at Wittenberg, the door there.
All right, and I want to remind people again, it's at 4 o'clock, and it's going to be right up the street at the Lutheran Church of the Cross, and it's $15, and you're going to have a German dinner, right?
Of course.
All right, that sounds good.
Are you making the meal?
Oh, the last time I cooked was last night. I made dumplings for my wife. I mean, and my wife's English, and she tolerates it.
Okay.
No, that sounds good to me.
Thank you.
Little spätzle, and that would sound good. And I want to mention something else that's coming up. A few days later, on Thursday, November 1st, you're doing your rummage sale.
Yeah, we'll be collecting things on Thursday and Friday.
Okay.
Saturday the 3rd is the day that it'll all be out and available for sale.
Okay.
And it's become a very popular event that we've done at our Laguna Woods campus for the past several years now because so many people drive by El Toro Road and they can see it right there and stop on by. We're collecting items. You can contact the church office if you have something that you'd like to donate.
Okay. And is there any parameters, what you don't want or do want?
Well, we're looking for things that are gently used that are relatively easy to sell. We know that furniture, helps, clothing, and things of that nature. Every year when we do sell, we're able to raise several $1,000s that we donate to a different charity. This year we're working with an organization that's helping the fire victims in Northern California.
Oh, great. Okay.
So all the proceeds from that. So I appreciate the opportunity to let people know about this, but also just as a reminder, we'll be happy to take your gently used items. We appreciate it if there's something that would be of value to somebody else.
Okay.
That's always, I think that's really the only parameter.
Now, will you be able to give people, because sometimes people want receipts for
Sure,
tax?
absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, you're donating to the church. We can provide the receipt.
All right, very good. So you're taking goods up until November 1st,
Yes.
which is Thursday,
Yeah.
and then the actual rummage sale is Saturday, November 3rd.
That's correct, 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. And we encourage people to stop by. Take a browse. I mean, you never know what we're going to get. We get so many interesting items
Yeah.
from people in the village and around the
What
area.
about any kind of electronics, or you don't want them, like
No.
older computers or
Those
printers
are
and
fun.
things?
We had
Okay.
someone donate some old camera equipment a couple years
Okay.
ago, and a young photography student came by and looked and said, "This is perfect. This is what I'm learning how to use, and this kind of helps me
Great.
with my history." So, if you have electronics that might seem a little older, don't shy away from that, because somebody may need them. Somebody might come by.
Okay, I always remind people that if you are donating something like an older computer or whatever it might be, make sure you take your stuff off there, your personal
Right.
information.
Yes, very true.
And there are ways that you can, reboot that device as if it was new again.
Indeed.
Yeah, so that's always
Very good.
good. Now, once again, October 28th, that's a Sunday at 4 p.m. You will meet wonderful Dr. Uwe Simonetto and interesting gentleman. I think it's going to be a fun event. At 4 o'clock, tickets are $15, but that includes a German dinner as well. There you go. That sounds good. And then the rummage sale will be Saturday, November 3rd. If you have some goods, go ahead and drop them off over at the Lutheran Church by Thursday, November 1st. Gentlemen, thank you.
Thank you.
Very much. Good
Thank
to see
Ken.
you.
Nice to see you again.
Nice to meet you, sir. Take care. We'll be right back.